Magic. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So what we're going to do here is we're going to code through a new function that we're going to call our convertBase8Base10. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to find the convertBase2Base10 function, and we're going to go right underneath that. And we are actually going to write out the new function name that again is going to come very similar to what it was, convert base 8 to a base 10 digit. I'm going to put my parentheses in here and I'll put my curly braces. With this, reminders of this function, if you're going to convert a value, you are going to have to supply this function with something. You need to give them a number and they can convert it. So again, in here we get to name this parameter whatever we would like. I do suggest naming it after what you are going to be receiving. I will be receiving some sort of a octal value, base 8 value. Well, the first thing that we are going to do with our octal value is we're going to pop it into here, and we're going to actually have to take this number and break it down digit by digit. And to do that, we remember have to split up your array. That's something that we can do. I do suggest creating new variables when you kind of split things up to help read your code better so they describe what they're holding on to. I'm about to create an octal array where each individual index of my array will hold one of the digits that I was given. This octal array, we can take the octal string that we get, we can split it, and remember we can split this by typing in an empty string here. We're saying please split this after every single character. If we put a space in here, it would say every time you find a space, I want you to chop off the word that came before it. Unfortunately, our digits, kind of like you see here, don't have any spaces. So we are going to just cut them off for every single digit. From there, if you remember from the notes, when we started our conversions, we did not start on the left side of these digits. We actually always started on the right side and moved our way to the left. Computers, though, can only work forwards to backwards code-wise. So we have to think, well, the best way to do this would be to reverse this array. So we can take this octal array and we can do something called reverse. Now, this is something that we can do where it doesn't have to be stored back as itself. This is a permanent kind of function where if we reverse the array, it actually changes the contents of the array permanently to be reversed. Now that they are reversed, we can go ahead and actually try to run through the calculations for each digit and multiply them by what is actually represented in that particular placeholder. Well, again, we should probably make a variable called decimal answer because we're going to be taking every placeholder's value, summing them up at the end. 0 is a good number to start that at for us. And then I always love to make a new variable also called the length. We need to know how many times my for loop needs to run, and that is the length of our word. However many digits there are, I would like to do something for every single digit. How we find the length is we can take the octal array that we have and just type .length. This will give you back how many indices are filled with values. From there, we now have to go ahead and loop through every single index. Well, something that is really good at looping through every single index is a for loop. So we're going to utilize a for loop again. It's one of our favorites. Typically, we will start our variable I at 0 because the first index is at 0. Our indices go up by 1s, so my I value should probably go up by 1s as well. And the test that we want, I want to make sure that this keeps going all the way until the end of my array, till I hit the length of the array. For every single one of these digits, we're going to be doing something extremely similar. The first thing we have to do is extract what value is actually there. So if I'm starting at the very first digit, I need to grab what's at index 0 of my array, and I need to go ahead and store it somewhere. Let's make a variable. I would like to again call this digit, something along that line. And I would like to go to my octal array. I would like to go to an index. Now I could type in the number 0 here, but unfortunately every iteration of this loop I would be grabbing the same exact spot. Instead, we start again utilizing the power of this I variable that we see here. This I variable starts at 0, so the first iteration it'll grab index 0, but the next iteration it increases its value by 1. So now what I can do is I can take this octal array, I can go to index 1, and then I can go to index 2, and then index 3, so on and so forth. So we grab onto this digit that we have here. What we're going to have to do with this digit is we're going to have to take it and pretty much turn it into a number, because everything right now is a string version of itself. So I'm going to make something called a digit value. So it's, that's not a digit. Let's just leave it as digit, actually. I'm going to rewrite the digit value. Override it so it's just the number version of itself. And remember, to do this, we can just type the variable number and then what we want to convert to a value. As long as what you put in here is representing some sort of a number as a word, this will work perfectly fine for us. So digit is now a value of a number. Well, now what I need to calculate is the placeholder's value. Remember, we're at the very first placeholder. This should be worth 8 to the 0. The second placeholder should be worth 8 to the first. Well, let's make a variable that's going to be called value for the placeholder. And how we need to utilize this is we know every calculation is going to be 8 raised to some power. This power starts at 0, the first index, 1 the next digit, 2 the next digit. That's exactly what our I value is doing again. So we're going to utilize that power of I one more time here, where we have 8 to the 0 power, 8 to the first power, so on and so forth. The total value of my particular digit in this situation, so I'm going to make a new variable called total value. This is going to be equal to whatever digit I had there times the value for that placeholder. So I do end up with this awesome number here that says, hey, this first placeholder is worth this much. That is the number that we probably want to add to our decimal answer. So we'll take our decimal answer, we will then add in this total value that we have. It'll then traverse through your list. You will have a total final answer at the end there. Don't forget, the whole point of this function is to do us a favor and give us back an answer. So please don't forget that you need to return your decimal answer once that loop does its final process. Now, you guys are going to go back to your convert function. You guys are going to have to add a few things here. Most likely, you're going to have to add something to your drop-down menu so that you guys have another option for base 8 to base 10 conversions. You are then going to have to probably adjust some of your selection options so that you're also adding functionality to that as well. If I have chosen the base 8 to base 10, maybe there's a function that I have that I've written that I should be calling. But to double check without this convert even working, remember we can use this little trick here where we can type console.log, and inside of here we can type the name of the function that we want to run. Ours is going to be called convertBase8Base10. convertBase8Base10 did ask me to give it some sort of a base 8 value. Just be careful here. You remember can't type a number that has a digit larger than a 7. So we know that the number, I don't know, let's try 777. That's the largest value we can store with 3 base 8 numbers. If we save our code, I thought I had it open, refresh our web page. If I now inspect the web page, you should notice that I get the value of 511, which from our notes, we know that 777 in the base 8 world is 511. So go ahead and try to finish off the convert function you can have total functionality of this. We will have Monday to finish this as well, but hopefully you guys can get a nice jump start and use Monday for some homework. Take care, guys. Enjoy.